What's going on, my Knicks Deli community? What's going on?
Knicks Deli edition.
I am back, baby. And so our New York Knicks, I want to welcome you to this live stream, one of the rarities that have been taking place over the past few months. So I apologize for that, but I am here now. So I'm happy to see my KD community. Shout out to you. Losing my voice because I worked earlier today, so I've been talking all day. But I wanted to hop on here, man, because the New York Knicks are messing things up for the NBA world in their narrative, okay? We are stepping in and we're changing the game right now, and I had to get on here and talk about it. So we had to talk our talk. If you're here for the first time, I want to thank you for joining me. I don't know how you found me, and I know that, I stream very few, but I want to welcome you. I want to welcome you to Knicks Deli. If you're returning to the channel, my KD community, you already know. I want to thank you. Yeah, I want to thank you for rocking with me. All right. We are here to talk our talk today. Okay. And we're here to talk about our New York Knicks. So I want to thank you for joining me. I'm going to dive in. Okay. But before I do get into any of the content, always what I want to do is make sure that I recognize the KD community properly. Okay. And we do so with the top five that are alive, baby. Okay. So I want to give a quick shout out to 5 of the channel members. Okay. And we do that by doing this. So first and foremost, shout out to Optimistic Giants fan. Also, I want to give a shout out to Dish-73. I want to give a shout out to Lyndon Dantzler 3307. Also want to give a shout out to A Paudiaz 999. And lastly, with the KD community top 5, I want to give a shout out to Kevin Taylor 5954. You guys make this thing work. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Okay. Do me a favor, throw your ones in the chat if you could hear me. Let me give a shout out to the chat. Drip more. Let's go. If you're joining the chat, throw your ones up so I can give you a shout out as well. But we about to talk our talk today. Our New York Knicks are on a magical run. I'm telling you, we're doing something that's different. And I wanted to really jump off before this week started by giving a playoff preview. And not only a playoff preview, but for what I believe is a title run. And I called it 2 summers ago. All right. And it's coming to fruition. So this is what we're getting into this week. All right. So shout out to my top 5. And I really am excited to just dive in to talk about our New York mother flipping Knicks. But before I do me a favor, click that like button, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and listen, enjoy the show. Give me some feedback. But if you're here for the first time, let me say this. Welcome to Knicks Deli, baby. The way Knicks Deli works is there are 4 items that are on the menu. First item on the menu, obviously, if this is the Knicks Deli and we in New York, it's the bacon, egg, and cheese. Okay? Typically, I will have Knicks Deli after a New York victory. Okay? But for the purpose of this show, the top 3 represents the bacon, egg, and cheese. Who are the top 3 going into this playoff run who we're absolutely going to need to depend on to be able to step up? And what exactly do we need from them? So we're going to talk about who are those 3 players, who are the top 3 that together make that thing the best sandwich in the world, the bacon, egg, and cheese. Okay. Next on the menu, we're going to look at who is the dollar slice. All right. Who is the dollar slice? The dollar slice is a staple of New York. Everybody knows New York has the best pizza in the world. Okay. So we're going to look at who is the player that for us is that stabilizing factor that we're going to need to lean on to help us get to where we need to go. That is the NBA Finals. And that is the first championship brought back to New York in years. Okay, so we're going to talk about who the dollar slice is going to be as well. Next, On the menu is the chopped cheese. And the chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing busting. So we're going to talk about who is the chopped cheese, okay, of the playoffs, going into the playoff preview and on our title run. So we're going to talk about that as well. Now, you can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. You can't even have the chopped cheese if you ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. And we call that here at Knicks Deli the quarter water. So we're going to talk about who is the quarter water going into this playoff stretch. Who, comes in and gives you that burst of energy off the bench for a quarter or a little bit each quarter. That's going to be critical in helping us get over the top. So those are the 4 items on the menu. But we've added a special item on the menu this season, and it's necessary. And that item is called the glizzy of the game.
The glizzy of the game.
Okay? And the glizzy of the game goes to somebody who says something off the chain that makes you look at the screen sideways and say, nah, you need to shut the hell up. And we're going to give you only one way to shut you up in New York is to give you the glizzy. Okay? So who gets the glizzy of the game? Okay? Then we're going to look at 2 other items. Okay? Not necessarily items, but we call it here at Knicks Deli the nah son nah you wildin' moment. Okay, so who gets the nah son nah you wildin' moment of the day? All right, and that's when somebody says something out of their mouth a little bit crazy or has some type of criticism, and we got to look at them and be like, nah son nah you wildin'. And then we're going to look at hot off the grill Knicks Reddit, and this is where we look at what other New York fans are talking, what other Knicks fans are talking that we may be able to chime in on. Okay, then I'm gonna obviously include you. Chat, I hope you're ready. You're not just here to watch me today. You're here to engage. We are at a beautiful time of New York Knicks fandom, okay, where we're beyond trying to ask for respect. We've already demanded respect. Now we're in a conversation. They're legitimately talking about us as title contenders, legitimately. And I'm not talking about next year. I'm not talking about 2 years from now. I'm talking about this year. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear about how you feel about that. How do you feel now that we're getting respect? How do you feel now that we're not just looking to be flukish, that we got other teams' coaches, some of them giving us praise and some of us hating, like the Celtics coach the other night? So I want to talk to you and hear about what your feelings are. But let's dive in. So, who's the bacon, egg, and cheese? Who are the 3 players that we're really going to have to lean on this playoff run? Okay, but I not only want to talk about the players that we're going to have to lean on, but I want to talk about the type of seasons that they're having and how they are going into this playoff season and how that level of performance that they're playing at is going to propel us into this year's playoffs. And obviously, nobody else I could start off this conversation with. Now our point guard, okay? Jaylen mother flipping Brunson. Let's drop a bomb for Jaylen Brunson. Listen, Linda, listen. Yo, our dude is an MVP candidate. What are we talking about? Our dude is an MVP candidate right now. He ain't performing just against scrubs. He ain't having his highlight. He ain't pad statting like your King LeBron James. He ain't pad statting. Y'all better talk to me. This man is showing up every time there's a marquee matchup. Even last night when it wasn't a marquee matchup, the so-called crosstown rivalry, we were down, early in that game. He stepped his game up. And behind that leadership, listen, where we don't accept falling behind and we're going to turn this game in and try to preserve our players. Nah, we ain't accepting this loss. To have that comeback victory. To be in Boston where you sending double teams and he's breaking them. You can't do nothing without. Come on, what are we talking? Jaylen mother flipping Brunson, that's who we talking. Knicks fans, I got a surprise for you. I got news for you. If any of you are bandwagon fans, just joining the party. The New York Knicks have a superstar on their team. A superstar. What I'm upset about is now you got the Wojnarowskis saying it. You got other people saying it. And New York Knicks fans sometimes, listen, man, New York is some of the most confident people on the face of this earth. But Knicks fans, why do you hesitate to point out what you see on a night-to-night basis? They don't watch our team like we watch them. But y'all hesitate to call your own guy a superstar. Call it for what it is. We don't gotta wait for them to stamp us. That man has been dropping 30 like crazy. He should be the one wearing the jersey number 30. Because every time you look out, he hits the floor and he scores 30. And you know who we used to say that about? We used to say that about Carmelo Anthony. The moment he wakes up and his feet touches the floor, he got 30 points. But I'm telling you this much. Carmelo Anthony was a star in this league, an absolute legendary scorer. But the New York Knicks and Jaylen Brunson, the New York Knicks in Jaylen Brunson has their first superstar since Patrick Ewing. Their first superstar in New York as a Knick since Patrick Ewing. You gotta be just, overflowing with pride with how this man has been torching the league. Couple of things that absolutely stands out. The man is terrorizing opposing fan bases. Opposing teams, they can't figure him out. They haven't figured him out, and he's had plenty of tape for them to study. They don't know what to do with him. Those are MVP qualifications. Those are MVP characteristics. They don't know what to do with your boy Jaylen Brunson. They don't. They have no clue. This man is a narrative changer right now. And we all have to ask ourselves, are we witnessing something special? New York Knicks fans, we like to call ourselves, educated Knicks fans, and we want to be realistic when they call us delusional. No, you got to also tell yourself, should I believe what my eyes are showing me? My eyes are showing me that no matter what type of narrative they place on our player, he breaks through those ceilings they try to place on him consistently. I don't know if he could carry a team. He's carrying a team. The Knicks should fall to the 6th place because they lost Julius. No, they continue to thrive. They had to endure the loss of Mitchell Robinson. They're going to fall apart. We're going to see no. Right now, they are battling for the 2nd seed. What are we talking about? So when we're looking at Jaylen Brunson, we're looking at a point guard who has the most 30-point games since Patrick Ewing in a New York Knicks uniform. The most. If you don't believe your lying eyes, and if you start to believe what some of the pundits were saying early in the season, listen to the opposing coaches. Listen to Mike Brown, a coach who is supposedly known for his defensive prowess, and that did some surprising work up until the end of the season with the Sacramento Kings, who are in the playoffs. And he was just like, man, listen, Jaylen Brunson, something else. I remember when we were on the other side talking about other players like that. Crazy. Listen to the other coaches and how they're talking about our guy. Jaylen Brunson has hit another stratosphere. Very recently, I love this quote that I pulled up from Rick Pitino, Check this out. This is a quote by Rick Pitino, legendary coach in college and in the NBA. Used to be a former NBA coach for the New York Knicks. He says, "I'm blown away with what the Knicks are accomplishing. Teamwork, discipline, coaching, and an insatiable desire to win. Also, doesn't hurt having this year's MVP. Go Knicks." This is from Rick Pitino. Every time there is a challenge or a big game, whether it's Boston, whether it's Miami, whether it's the Milwaukee Bucks, our point guard, our superstar, he shows up and he annihilates the competition. People were asking me, so quick to call him superstar. Well, we got to wait to see what he does in the playoffs. No, we don't. This is coming from me being tortured in the 90s by Michael Jordan. Everybody want to talk about Patrick Ewing not having rings, and people want to figure out, and this is the newer generation who doesn't have the context to know. You just watch The Last Dance and Michael Jordan, and now you want to everybody with whoever was great back then, everybody wants to poo-poo their greatness now, but they don't have context. So new Knick fans, I want to push you aside. I want to talk to the older Knick fans. You remember how close Patrick and the New York Knicks, even with limited talent, were pushing the Chicago Bulls. And whether it was referees or last minute amazing shots by Jordan that are unfathomable, is what prevented Patrick Ewing from winning a championship. Some of those moments that Michael Jordan pulled out were otherworldly. And I'm seeing some of those moments with Jaylen Brunson. Big shot maker. Pressure, unaffected by the pressure. The team is determined to follow this young man easily. Chemistry is on point. So yes, when we talk about going into this playoffs and who is the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese, our number one done data, it has to be Jaylen Brunson. It has to be Jaylen Brunson. And why? I'm going to give you this. I'm going to leave you with this. This month alone, he's averaged 36.2 points, 8.7 assists, and 3.5 rebounds. Let me remind you, Knicks fans, that is coming from our point guard position. Unheard of. Y'all remember Ray Felton? I don't want to even start the listing of point guards that we had to go to before we actually got our point guards putting up those numbers. And it's funny, when I was looking at Reddit, somebody dropped something that really was like, hit the bell for me. They said, Jaylen Brunson is like Andre Miller on steroids. He has that type of fundamental game as a point guard. And I'm excited to see what he does in this playoff run. And we're going to talk about how it's different for him because there is not ISO ball that's going to be played outside of his position. And what type of difference is that going to make for this year's playoffs? So I want you to join me in giving a round of applause. A New York round of applause is dropping a bomb for Jaylen Brunson, the bacon of our bacon and cheese. Now, who's going to be the next most important piece? The next most important piece to this run going into the playoffs for us is going to be OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby. Listen, the New York Knicks should be applauded in the way that they have handled these injuries. They should be applauded. When that man had his injury shortly upon coming over, you had some people in the Knicks fan base who was just like, did we get damaged goods? You had other people in the Knicks fan base who was just like, we should shut him down, let him heal into the end so that we could have him for the playoffs. But the New York Knicks continue to handle it right. They continue to handle it right. And they made sure that we had him back good enough. He's not 100% healed. That's going to be the offseason. But he's good enough to join us in making this playoff run. OG Anunoby, to me, reminds me of our Scottie Pippen. Our Scottie Pippen. Bro, if we're talking about having a superstar, you don't believe that Jaylen Brunson, for us, is our superstar. You got to understand that in OG Anunoby, we got somebody who has an opportunity to play alongside Jaylen Brunson. He wasn't with us last playoffs. So those people who are expecting a similar result to what we encountered last year, you got another thing coming, because we don't have the same team that we had last year going into the playoffs. This is not a bashing session for me. I'm not going to be bashing RJ Barrett. I'm not going to be bashing Julius Randle. But what I will tell you is, how much did your blood pressure raise last year? Watching RJ Barrett hit the corner three, miss the corner three, in some cases hitting the backboard. The last 2 years, not necessarily producing at the level that we were hoping for. How many times did your anxiety increase when Julius Randle got the ball in the block and he was going to hit that spin move? Or, when he was holding the ball too long and you was just praying for him to kick it out. Or in some cases where he's coming down the middle of the floor on the break, he's taking the ball himself, and you're just hoping that he doesn't get picked off, he doesn't get stripped, he doesn't turn the ball over, and that he makes the appropriate play. And the difference this year is that there is no Julius Randle and there's no RJ Barrett. And I'm gonna come back to Julius, because I know it sounds like it, but I'm not taking a dump on Julius, because Julius was at the point where he was about to hit another level. Jaylen Brunson, I mentioned in many videos earlier in the season that he is moving from star status to superstar status, and he's bringing Julius with him. And prior to Julius dislocating his shoulder, he was on a tear. Everybody wants to forget that. He was tearing up the league. Nobody could do nothing with him because he was playing alongside of a Jaylen Brunson. When we were looking at the potential of Jaylen Brunson and Luka Doncic, had Luka not gotten injured in that Dallas run, similarly, we were looking at the same thing with Julius. Julius was playing at a level we had never seen before. I was saying in that moment, he was ascending. So for him to fall, victim of that injury of dislocated shoulder was catastrophic for him, because he was playing at a level he had not played at previously in his career. And that's saying a lot about Julius, because Julius has gotten better every year in his career. So I don't want to make it look like I'm completely taking a dump on him. But what I'm telling you, Knicks fans, is this playoff run you should be excited about, because it's an opportunity to see a team we've never seen before. And Jaylen Brunson is clearly the unchallenged leader of this run. So, unfortunately, it's injuries, but we have had we're presented with an opportunity to see what does this look like with Jaylen Brunson leading this team. What style of play? Who's going to step up? Who's going to be his support system? In those big moments, who are going to take those shots? Who's going to rise to the occasion and snatch this opportunity? So that's the piece that I'm excited about. And right now, OG Anunoby is the next difference maker who is side by side with Jaylen Brunson. Now, the difference is he's not going to be that offensive person who's going to help carry the load for us. No, his impact is defensive. He's going to be a disruptor for us. He's already shown it. Just returning back to the roster, to the lineup, his versatility to be able to cover the Tatums of the world, to be able to cover the Jaylen Browns of the world, to be able to cover the Paul Georges of the world. And ultimately where I see us going this year being the finals, LA Clippers versus our New York Knicks, to be able to put him on a guy such as a Kawhi. Many people have compared him to. You have a player who is long like that, pause, in your starting lineup, who can hit a corner three, who is a throwback to making a mid-range shot as well, who has long arms, who is unafraid to get in there and try to block your shot and to take the ball directly up to the hoop. This is what we have. I'm excited to see how that unfolds. And he's been out a good portion of the season. So that chemistry isn't even there yet. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, like going into the future, he's only been with us for half a season. And it feels like he's been with us for 3 years. This is what we're looking at. This is what we're looking at. And I'm going to tell you something else. Something else that stood out to me. Earlier in the season, I made a video and I said, the New York Knicks need an enforcer. Our guy is getting battered out there. Our guy's getting battered out there. Apologize, my mic is wilding out. Jaylen Brunson, every third player is hitting the floor. The referees are picking and choosing when they want to call fouls for him. And there's certain moments where he gets battered and he has to pull himself off. And it makes me sick if you're a fan of the 90s, if you grew up with the 90s Knicks, that the team only runs up to him and picks him off the floor. They don't address who put him there. And in this last game, some people could say, oh, it was the Nets. Well, whatever. But when Cam Thomas fouled Jaylen Brunson and he hit the floor and OG was up in his grill, man, let me show you this picture, because the picture is worth 1,000 words. Let me pull this up. You see this picture? You see this picture with OG running up on Cam Thomas, addressing the situation? What else do you see in this picture? You could see Mitch there. Now, Mitch is on the side. All right? Now, Mitch, as our big, should be in front of Cam Thomas as well. But Mitch is on the side. And this has been a couple of instances where I remember when Grimes, where Barnes, the kid Barnes from Toronto, was in Grimes' face while they was trying to inbound the ball. And he was really going at Grimes. Mitch was right there, not saying anything. Now, I know it was a situation that was high intense. You don't want to get a technical foul. But Mitch, as the big man of the team, man, you got to protect. Come on, that's your guard. He wasn't saying nothing. And Barnes is all in Grimes' face. You ain't that guy. You are not that guy. And that bothered me, man. It's just like, yo, come on, man. That's an opposing big, the opposing star. You step in there and be like, yo, back up, man. Don't let the big on the other team get at your point, at any of your guards. And to Grimes' credit, he was, sticking up for himself. But your bigs got to step in there and say something. But you know what's critical about this picture? Look at Brunson. Look at Jaylen Brunson. He sees his guy going to bat for him, and he's paying attention to it. And if you watch this video and you watch the replays of it, right after this, he daps OG up. Going into the playoffs, this is where you start seeing who got your back. He know his Villanova brothers got his back. But even them, they don't kind of step in like this because they're small in stature. OG is sending a message, not only to the opposing teams, but he sent a message to his star point guard. I don't want you touching nobody on my team. None of the people on my team should be hitting the floor like that as a result of the opponents. And I'm going to step in and I'm going to let you know it ain't going to be happening. The most important piece to this visual picture is the fact that Brunson sees his guy going to bat for him. That's critical. That's what we need from OG Anunoby. But other things that stand out about having OG as the egg for our bacon, egg, and cheese, let me go back, talk a little bit about OG, is his off-ball movement. I'm telling you, it sucks that Julius is not going to be with us for this run. But I'm telling you, this run is going to be amazing to watch, because the only person that really slows down the ball is the person that has shown an ability to close, and that's Jaylen Brunson. Everyone else has shown the ability to have off-ball movement, to be able to cut in this offense, to be able to move until the point guard finds you. And OG brought that immediately when he came over to us. He shows off-ball movement, he shows the ability to cut, and he shows the ability to finish when he receives the pass and to not have, concrete hands of stone. He can catch the pass and he could finish. And that's what I love about OG, in addition to him being able to cut and hit 3-point shots and play defense. So that's what makes him the egg of our bacon, egg, and cheese. So we're going to drop a bomb for OG Anunoby. We're going to be dependent on him. All right. If you guys agree with who the bacon and the egg is, Jaylen Brunson and OG Anunoby, throw a 2 in the chat. All right. Eventually, I ain't going to let y'all off the hook. Y'all going to have to talk to me, man. This is our squad going into the playoffs, bro. This is our squad going into these playoffs, about to make a title run. Now, who is the cheese of the bacon, egg, and cheese? Who's that third piece that makes that sandwich bussin' here in New York? And obviously, the cheese of the bacon, egg, and cheese, at least in my opinion, is our guy. Where you at? Let me go. Let me find this man. Our guy, Dante DiVincenzo. Round of applause for our guy, Dante DiVincenzo. Let's go drip more. Dante DiVincenzo. Bruh.
Which one?
Not now, Siri, not now. Dante DiVincenzo. Look, our guy is playing off the chain right now. Low key, I don't understand why this man is not talked about in the most improved player conversation. I do not know why this man is not talked about in the most improved player conversation. They're talking about Kobe White in Chicago. Where's the Chicago Bulls in terms of their standings? How much has Kobe White contributed to the rise and the standing of his team? The New York Knicks are fighting for the number 2 spot. And Dante DiVincenzo, since the trade of Quentin Grimes, has been inserted in the lineup, carrying the load, pause, for one of the hottest teams in the NBA. This is what happens when you are in the New York market and you are the New York Knicks. They fight not to give you respect. They don't want to show you the credit you deserve. They don't want to. People often say credit is not given, it's earned. Well, we've earned this. This is not LeBron James saying, I want my damn credit. No. Dante DiVincenzo is making history right now. The man is making history right now. Not only did Jaylen Brunson to New York, and he's performing far beyond the expectations that were placed on him when we were signing him, but this man has as well. To be inserted in a lineup, to be able to drop 30 points, 20 points, to be able to hit 3-point shots at a historic rate in his first season, not even as a starter, for half a season. has taken the single season three-pointers made record at a historic clip. What else do we have here? Donte DiVincenzo has career highs in field goals, field goal attempts, three-pointers, three-point attempts, blocks, and points. He didn't even have those numbers when he was playing with the world champion Milwaukee Bucks. He didn't have those numbers. He had those numbers here. He's turned out to be the New York Knicks' second option on a top 6 seeded team. Yet you hear nothing about him being in the conversation for most improved player. Why is that? Breaking the New York Knicks 3-point season record at a historically great pace. But what I love about having Donte DiVincenzo, first and foremost, is he don't care about none of that. He doesn't care. He hasn't cared all season about any of that. He's always said the most important thing is winning. Whether I'm coming off of the bench or I'm starting, the most important thing is winning. And you see the difference in our offense when he's on the floor. The moment we brought him in as a free agent, his off-ball movement, similar to OG, right off the bat, backdoor cuts. You see him moving, he'll stop, and he brought all of that from the Golden State Warriors. The man has a high release and a quick release on the three-point shooting. And you know he brought that from the Golden State Warriors, studying Steph, studying Clay. The ability to be disruptive in passing lanes as well, studying the Draymond, studying that offense, bringing that to the New York Knicks. Having a winning pedigree no matter where he's at, Villanova, Milwaukee, Golden State Warriors, the New York Knicks front office and the New York Knicks coaching staff, they're doing their work. We're looking at the Executive of the Year honors with this run. The New York Knicks are beyond a competent organization now, bringing somebody like Donte DiVincenzo in. Donte DiVincenzo reminds me of Michael Redd, where you had a player who's come in as a backup or wasn't coming in with all the accolades, but was able to propel himself into all-star discussions. There's an opportunity here for Donte DiVincenzo to make a mark on this team in this playoff run for this season. Why isn't he spoken about in the most improved player conversation? I don't understand it. But he is our cheese for the bacon, egg, and cheese today. So round of applause for the bacon, egg, and cheese. Jaylen Brunson, Donte DiVincenzo, and OG Anunoby. Drop a bomb for them.
Knicks Deli edition.
Once again, everybody, you are here at Knicks Deli. We're looking at our team and their profile, what they've brought this season, and how they're going to help impact our playoff run. Do me a favor, throw your thumbs up, like this video, and comment. I want to talk to y'all by the end of this video. But next on the menu is the dollar slice. And we're going to talk about who's the dollar slice, who represents stability for the New York Knicks, okay, in this playoff run, and how has that unfolded this season. And next up, obviously, the dollar slice has got to be this man. We got to talk about this man, Josh Hart, because there were many points in this season that this man was being disrespected. People were questioning whether he was worth the contract. People was talking about the fact that he couldn't have or produce offensively. That, this was a poor signing by the New York Knicks. People were saying this was a poor signing by the New York Knicks. What this man has done has been nothing less than, brilliant. The man has become a triple-double machine. You can almost guarantee the man is pulling down double-digit rebounds at the guard position. That was something that I absolutely loved about Raymond Felton and Jason Kidd, rebounding from the guard position. You know how much that helps a team? To be able to get rebounds when all the bigs are blocking the other bigs out for your guards to go in there and not be afraid to scrap, not to be afraid to get hit, not be afraid to hit the ground or get hit with elbows, fight for rebounds, to put up the points when needed, to be able to cut. Once again, a consistent thing with this team is the ability to have off-ball movement, to be able to cut and make plays at the rim, to finish through contact. This man is tough. This man has been one of the toughest people on our team and has helped reestablish our identity as a defensive force in this league. I was saying prior to us getting him that the New York Knicks needed a Draymond Green type of player. This is Josh Hart. This is Josh Hart. He's not that enforcer or whatever have you, but he's that type of player that does the little things, that hits that occasional three-point shot. He's much more offensively inclined than Draymond Green is. But he is that type of player that when you win a championship, he's going to be on the documentary videos about how his addition to the team changed the trajectory of the team. So I want to give a special shout out to not only a player that can be a critical piece in helping us win a championship, but a number one recruiter. Yo, you can't deny the fact that this man has been unapologetic in his recruitment of players in the league, specifically Mikal Bridges. I heard somebody say, look, I saw it on Nets Twitter that they said it's just disgusting how Mikal Bridges interacts with the New York Knicks and making it look like he wants to go there. And it's almost like Josh Hart and them, they don't care. They have no shame. They know that they're players that they can outwardly or inwardly recruit for this guy. So it looks like it's only a matter of time. But I love the fact that Josh Hart has no embarrassment, no shame in his recruitment efforts for other players. And that's exactly what we needed. Not only do we need it to turn around the organization and our fortunes, but we need players who other teams look at and respect and say, I want to play side by side with you. And the New York Knicks are there now. So shout out, round of applause to Josh Hart. Josh Hart reminds me of Tayshaun Prince for the Detroit Pistons. When he came in and all of a sudden, he seemed like a Swiss Army knife. He was Reggie Miller's frame, but he was doing everything. He was running down and blocking shots. He was hitting the three-pointers. He was playing defense. He was moving off of the ball consistently. Josh Hart reminds me of that type of player for us. And he's going to be critical in helping us make a championship run. So round of applause for Josh Hart as well. Okay? Now, we just talked about the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli. We talked about the next, the dollar slice. Who was the dollar slice? And that was Josh Hart. Now, who is the chopped cheese here at Knicks Deli? Who's the third item on the menu? Who's the chopped cheese? And I'm going to give this to three people. I'm going to give it to all of the players at the center position. Okay? Center/power forward position. So the chopped cheese here at Knicks Deli today is going to be Isaiah Hartenstein. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith. Isaiah Hartenstein. Okay? Mitch, Rob, and Precious Achua. So I'm going to drop a bomb for those players. That's who's going to be the chopped cheese of the game for us. We're going to need our center position, our bigs, to play a critical role. And I love the fact that we got Mitch Rob back because we present different looks with having all of them on the floor. Super shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein. Super shout out to him because when Mitch Rob went down, he went in. Not only did he pick up the slack, but he absolutely played his game and he brought something different to the role. Not only when iHeart is out there, the offense simply moves more fluidly. You have a big who is not only playing defense, who is not only rebounding, who is not only bringing blocks, all right, but he's fearless. He's fearless. He goes up and he blocks anybody. He don't care if it's Giannis. He wouldn't care if it's Shaq. But in addition to that defensive presence he brings to the floor, he's also bringing the IQ. He's also bringing the passing ability. So when you have the OGs, when you have the Josh Harts, when you have the Jaylen Brunsons, when you have the DiVincenzos who are either cutting or posting up in different positions outside of the arc, you have a big who can find them. And he could pass them and he makes sure that the passes are accurate to get to them to be able to finish. That's what you have in Josh Hart. That's what you have in Isaiah Hartenstein. Relentless on the boards. Does the little things. And he has a push shot that opposing players have to respect. Opposing teams have to respect. So to be able to drop a double-double from the center position is critical. And he get his free throws. So this is why it's a natural fit that iHeart can start. And this is why it's also beautiful in the connections and the relationships that this team has. So when Mitch, who started out as the starting center, comes back, he can say, I'm willing to be on the bench as long as we win. That's what you want in the culture. That's what you want on a team that has one goal in mind, to end with jewelry on their fingers. So shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein. And since we're talking on Mitch, let's talk about Mitch. I don't like the level of disrespect that he's been receiving when he was out. Many in the New York fan base have a short-term memory. This man was dominating before he left. This man was dominating before he went down. He was a terror. He was blocking 3-point shots, 2-point shots. He was disruptive. And then he went down. And the moment iHeart comes in, New York Knicks, many in the New York Knicks fan base, and definitely many in the media were talking about who was better. Oh, yeah, so you need to, even Carmelo Anthony was saying it. Oh, if you had the choice, would you get rid of? No, bro, that's not what we're doing. We want a team that's in the culture of saying, okay, who's going to take a little bit less so that we can sign him back? Hopefully this is a championship run. We want to, at this point at the end of the season, we want to talk about running this back and all defending what is ours, an unexpected title for New York. That's what we want to talk about. We don't want to talk about having to make a decision between one or the other or who's better. And then you start pointing out the flaws of one you want to put down one to bring up another. That's not what we're doing. We already have them doing that to us for 20 years. Now that we doing it to ourselves. Y'all are bugging. Don't let them infiltrate with a Trojan horse. Allowing people new in our fan base to kind of come in and celebrate us. Listen, I appreciate Kendrick Perkins for what he's done. But I'm not trusting him. I'm not bringing him completely in. Let him espouse our greatness from outside. The moment you start letting the Trojan horses in and you close the gate, they could come in and be disruptive from inside. And it's nobody else's fault but ours. Let's not do it to ourselves. We have a rare opportunity. This is a special season. Realize what's happening. Jaylen Brunson is doing things nobody expected him to do. DiVincenzo is doing things nobody expected him to do. Josh Hart is doing things nobody expected him to do. Isaiah Hartenstein is doing things nobody expected him to do. Tom Thibodeau is coaching in a way that nobody expected him to do. Tom Thibodeau coached 3 different play styles during the season. He started out one way and had to switch it up. And then we made a trade, got OG Anunoby. He completely started a different way. Julius went down. He re-switched the offense, coached a different way. Tom, you talk about adjustments. Tom Thibodeau has been making them. We're doing things that are unprecedented. You got to recognize when you're part of something that's unique, that's not been happening. You got to recognize it first and get behind it. It's going to be hard to predict. It's been hard to predict this whole season. Nobody expected us to be fighting for the 2 spot. Just like nobody will expect it when we're in the finals. Just like nobody will expect it with Jaylen Brunson once again. Like he did in college, beating all the blue bloods. Him and his teammates are standing side by side, hoisting the trophy. I'm expecting that to be the case this season, NBA season, on a professional level. Let's talk about it. Shout out to the chat. My guy, Rayed saying it, says, whoa, Knicks for NBA championship after 1973, 100%. Shout out to you. That's what we're talking. Mitch Robb, the moment they said, you know, when what's his name? Our president, Leon Rose, came in. He said, I think it's safe to say Mitchell Robinson is going to be a key to what we're trying to do here in New York, to a championship run. He also said the same thing about RJ Barrett. But the moment, and Mitch Robb, we got in the second round. Come on, stop trying to push all the pieces that we got out. Let's at least have one who helps us reach the mountaintop. And honestly speaking, truth be told, if the New York Knicks win a championship this year, IQ gets a ring, Obi Toppin gets a ring, Evan Fournier gets a ring, RJ Barrett gets a ring. They were all part of this season. Those cats get rings because they helped us build this. So shout out to Mitch Robinson, who is the second part of the chopped cheese that we're going to talk about today. And lastly, I'd be remiss in my responsibility if I ain't talk about Precious Achiuwa and the role that he played in helping us get back to the point that we have Mitch back. Y'all got to put respect on Precious Achiuwa's name. Precious Achiuwa has a lot of people in Toronto looking at him with the side eye, like, why couldn't you do that with us? Natural fit. Everybody wanted to poo-poo Tom Thibodeau. You remember a few years back where he was the coach that none of these players wanted to play for. Who is the coach in the league right now that you would not want to play for? Anonymous poll was done. Tom Thibodeau was the number one person. It takes a person that is a superstar who is dominating the league, who says, I love him as a coach, and then take a few people who want to play for him, and then you find success. Watch all these young players now say, I want to play like this coach. I want to play for that coach. Well, I like what they're doing in New York, you know. Look, you even see it with the young kids who are coming out of college. You know, what type of game, what player in the league right now do you think your game is looking like? Oh, you know, I think I got a game like Jaylen Brunson. They starting to look at him as a star now. All of that comes as a total package. You look at and you connect your game to that star. That means that star is in that system. And that's the type of system that you'll excel in. That's an organic recruitment tool. It's an organic recruitment tool. And that's what happened with Precious Achiuwa. Being comfortable looking at that style, seeing how it's winning, looking at their trajectory and wanting to be a part of it. And he struggled at first. But with the coaching of Tom Thibodeau and Tom Thibodeau allowing him, unfortunately, was as a result of the injuries we had to play him. But he flourished. He flourished. And he was able to show what he can do. His versatility, his relentless pursuit of the basketball, his ability to put the ball into the hoop from the three-point line, to be able to embody the spirit of New York, only to find out that the man grew up in the Bronx. Well, he has connections to New York. He identifies with New York. You want players. I'm telling you, when we were down, I was telling everybody, all of the stars in the league are from places outside of New York. Of course they don't connect with New York. Of course they connect with LA, the Midwest, the South. When you have all of the, or Europe, when you have all of the players in the league who are not coming from New York, they're not going to have a desire to play here. That's why what the Knicks did was so intelligent, was so smart, was so far and beyond. They went and they recruited players who had their highest success on the East Coast, whether they were from New York or not. Those Villanova players are playing in the East. The Philly area, whose spirit and their energy and their swag connected with that, who played for a coach who was from the East, Jay Wright. They didn't mind playing in the cold. They don't mind playing wearing Timbs, navigating the cold weather. They connect with the grit of New York in the East Coast. Yo, you can't knock KD, who is just like, well, they not, the Knicks weren't cool. Listen, you don't come from our cloth. That's the one thing we didn't talk about. You can't hold that against KD. He don't come from that cloth. He's a follower. He didn't realize that his addition to a team makes it cool. How you not realize that? Brunson realized that, but Brunson don't care about it being cool. He cares about winning. And Achua was able to recognize that, and he was given an opportunity, and he captured the opportunity. So with these three, Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitch Robb, and Precious Achua, they're going to be different makers on this run. We're going to need that physicality. The New York Knicks are known as a physical team in this league. We've redefined that. And Adam Silver thinks he's slick. He thinks he's slick. We see what you're doing. You're looking at the New York market. You're seeing the run and the potential that we're on. You're seeing the emergence, the reemergence of defense, and we're doing it at a high level. The reemergence of a star in the New York market. And the team, we ain't going nowhere. This is a consistent style that we're bringing. Everybody's poo-pooing the fact that you have players who were scoring 71 easily. And now you see a problem with it because your king that you appointed and you created, his son is starting to set. And under his watch, all the numbers went through the roof. You blew up the numbers so that he can compete with Michael Jordan and be looked at as one of the greatest because you manufactured his career. And now that everybody is poo-pooing it and complaining about these blown up numbers, now you want to talk about, we got to do something about that, as if it was nothing you had nothing to do with. So don't try to paint it as if, I want to tighten it up and make it a more physical game and get the defense more competitive. Don't try to do that now that your guy got the numbers from Kareem. Kareem is looking at him sideways like, you know damn well that those numbers are fluff numbers. Those are creator player numbers on NBA 2K. But the New York Knicks have a style that's not going nowhere. And as a result of it, having three bigs who are versatile, who are fearless, who are relentless on the boards, is going to bode very well for us going into this year's playoffs. Okay? So, round of applause for those guys, the chopped cheese of the playoff preview for the New York Knicks. And I do that round of applause in the form of a bomb. Now I'm almost finished, y'all. I'm going to tie this up. I know it's getting late. It's 11 o'clock. But who's the quarter water? Here at Knicks Deli, there are 4 items on the menu. You can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't have the chopped cheese. You can't have the dollar slice if you ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. So who is the quarter water here at Knicks Deli? And the quarter water, of course, is only one person. And it has to be, well, yeah, come on now. Our guy Deuce. Round of applause for Deuce McBride. Listen, man, I am so proud of this guy. I'm so proud of Deuce McBride. But you know what? The same thing applies to life. Sometimes you have to wait your turn. Sometimes you have to wait for an opportunity to pop up. Sometimes you do. Shout out to the people who are watching this video. Do me a favor, throw your ones in the chat if you are a fan of Deuce, if you saw his potential from the very beginning. Because I made a video about Deuce McBride being our secret weapon. And this is about his second year in the league. Okay? And what I would say is, there was moments where you were looking at what he was doing in the G League and you're just like, man, he could really, if that could translate to the NBA, we'll be on point. But we had so many guards. We still had D Rose. We had IQ who was tearing it up. Where was the opportunity? We had Grimes, But this is where, although it may hurt us, this is where a purge comes into play. This is where a cleanse is necessary. Because Deuce McBride wouldn't have this opportunity if we didn't get that trade done with IQ. If we didn't necessarily get that trade done with Quentin Grimes. When they got rid of those players, the first thing they did was they committed to him with a contract extension. Pay attention to the moves that our front office is making, man. These are historic type of moves. You pretty much rewarded that man for his patience because he continued to work hard. He continued to work on his game. He continued and he didn't complain. I can't say that enough. We love our players. And once again, I know it sounds like they're gone and I'm poo-pooing their names, but you know that maybe behind the scene, the writing was on the wall. People did talk about this perception that Tibbs had favorites. All right, very possible. But the moment Obi Toppin started voicing his discontent, he was going in on Tibbs. Poof, gone. The moment Evan Fournier started expressing his discontent. It took a while for us to get rid of Ev, but Ev is gone. The moment we traded Obi Toppin, IQ was clear. I see myself as a starter in this league. His energy changed. We all saw it. Let's not act like we didn't see it. IQ is a high quality, high character player. Nobody can say anything about high IQ or any of those players. All of those players were absolute professionals. Absolute professionals. They just didn't fit the system that we had or the direction that we were going in. But IQ made it clear that he sees himself as a starter in this league. I think he really wanted to make sure that the Knicks knew that and that they offered him not only the contract, but the opportunity. I really think he was caught off guard when we traded him. But we traded him to a situation where he could start. But what the New York Knicks did was they looked at Deuce McBride. They say, you know what? He has the skills and he's a worker. He's a gym rat. He fits the Tom Thibodeau mold. So we're going to trade all of those other players. But also peep this. We're going to put them in situations where they could flourish, which are not terrible situations. Because we still have to control the PR. Terrible PR Knicks have historically had been accused of. Been bad mouthed because we did rip players wrong. We did all of them right, but we got rid of them. And we gave this man an opportunity and he showed up. The man has been reliable as a scoring option. He's been reliable as a defensive stopper at the guard position or defensive disruptor. I don't want to say a defensive stopper, defensive disruptor. And he is playing his role masterfully. And Tibbs trusts him now. The opportunities that present themselves with all of these trades having taken place and the injuries. With Quentin Grimes, gone. RJ Barrett, gone. IQ, gone. Obi Toppin, gone. Evan Fournier, gone. Julius Randle, gone. Mitch Robb, injured. How many of the players have stepped in and not skipped a beat, next man up, have taken advantage of this opportunity. That's the piece I'm excited about seeing in the CS playoffs. Who's going to step up? I'm excited to see what Deuce does in the playoffs. I'm excited to see it. So shout out to Deuce McBride, who is the quarter water this season, of the playoffs. Okay, so round of applause for all of those guys who were on the menu. The bacon, egg, and cheese, Jaylen Brunson, OG Anunoby, and Dante DiVincenzo. Shout out to Josh Hart. Shout out to the centers. Shout out to Deuce McBride. Okay. So what questions y'all have? Y'all are viewing the video. Are y'all excited as I am? The New York Knicks have an opportunity to make a title run. I'm not talking about first round. I'm not talking about second round. I'm talking about the potential of getting a bye. I'm talking about making a run. If the New York Knicks secure this number 2 seed, we are completely ignoring the heavy hitters on the bracket. And we're addressing everybody else. But I tell you this, I ain't scared of nobody. I don't care where we are. Give us, boss. I don't care. Give us the Magic. I don't care. I don't care who we face. Even without Julius Randle, nobody wants to see us. That's what I'm trying to convince Knicks fans. Like, y'all are like, oh man, I don't want to face. We don't care. They don't want to face us. There's nobody in the Eastern Conference who would just like, I prefer to face the Knicks in a 7-game series. No, they don't want to see us. Not the most physical team in the NBA. They don't want to see us. Okay, so instead of hitting the Nasa Na You Walla moment of the game, let's go to Knicks Reddit. We're going to go to Knicks Reddit, see what other Knicks fans are talking. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all off the hook, so y'all don't necessarily gotta get on here real quick. I'm just gonna share my screen and let's look at Knicks Reddit. Let's see what everybody else is talking. So give me a moment. Let me chef this thing up. Boom. Yeah. Let's go. So this part of Knicks Reddit, hot off the grill. So let's see what other Knicks, what are they talking? Let me make sure I'm right so y'all can see what I'm seeing. Boom. Let me make that a little bit larger. Cool. That should be all right. All right. Here it says Woj on Brunson. He could be the best player on a legitimate contender. That's funny because you remember what they were saying earlier in the season. So let's play this and see what they're talking.
What Jaylen Brunson has done, not just this season for the Knicks, but coming out of Villanova, he wasn't a mystery. He was the National Player of the Year in college basketball. He won multiple national championships in Villanova. He didn't play out of the spotlight. He still wasn't a first-round pick. The Mavericks had a chance to sign him to a really low extension number. They didn't do it fast enough. They lose him in free agency. Even the Knicks didn't really know, and they know him better than anybody. His dad's on the staff. His former agent, Leon Rose, is their president. They didn't expect that they were signing. They knew they were getting a potential all-star point guard. They're getting a player now who can be the best player on a legitimate contender. And what Brunson has done, not just this season, it is hard to remember a player who has taken steps the way he has, and you stop saying that he can't be the best player on a championship team, because every time you say that's as far as you can go with Jaylen Brunson, he elevates it again. What Jaylen Brunson...
Boom. And I'm happy that he's saying it right in front of Ramona Shelburne. I'm happy that he's saying that right in front of Ramona Shelburne, because she was one of the ones that was like, nah, he ain't it. He ain't it. So I was happy to see that. All right, what else on Knicks? So we got the Mystic Chicken, who says Jaylen Brunson on OG Anunoby. He's known for getting overly animated. So I think this is after the the little dust up with Cam Thomas. Let's see what Jaylen is talking.
After Cam fouls you late, OG ends up kind of talking to Cam when they get separated. He just got here basically. I mean, what does that mean to you for him to kind of stick his nose in there after you got fouled?
It means a lot. It means a lot. I'll leave it at that. I'm not gonna say anymore.
Is it especially meaningful considering OG just has such a notorious temper?
Yes. Yeah, he's known for getting overly animated.
Unhinged.
Yeah.
Going out with Jericho all the time.
Yeah.
After Cam fouls you late.
I'm gonna play this again. I want y'all to listen because they said, what does it mean that OG kind of stepped up to address the situation when Cam Thomas found him unnecessarily? So listen to what he says.
OG ends up kind of talking to Cam when they get separated. He just got here basically. I mean, what does that mean to you for him to kind of stick his nose in there after you got fouled?
It means a lot.
See that?
I'll leave it at that.
You see that?
I'm not gonna say anymore.
Is it especially meaningful considering OG just has such a notorious temper?
Yeah, I want to stop that there though. But you see his reaction. He said it means a lot. I'm gonna leave it at that. So I'm curious. I wish we really could know what his thoughts were. You know what I mean? Because the way he's been getting like brutalized in the lane by other teams, for OG to be the one to kind of step up and come to his defense, it's just unheard of. Okay, what else they got here? This is what, now I saw this a little bit earlier. It's funny. It says, "Bro, really do remind me of dude." And this is where someone else also talks about the comparison between OG Anunoby and Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen on the Chicago Bulls teams wasn't really relied on for scoring because Mike did all the scoring, but he did everything else. He shut down or he was placed on the other team's best guard or the other team's best small forward. Some cases the power forward. Okay, versatile. Will hit the 3-point shot or score as needed. And he was the Robin to Mike's Batman. So that's a good comparison. Okay, what else that we have here? We'll look at a few more before I shut this thing down. I know it's getting late. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Let me just make sure everything is all right with you guys. Good. You can see it through your twos in the chat. Hope it's not too small. I love this. So this is a meme that's going on, and I hope I don't get copyright struck because of the music. But if anybody knows anything about the new generation, or if you young cats are in here, so this is the Lil Yachty concert entrance. So I think this could have been at Rolling Loud, and Lil Yachty has this still track that has a dope entrance, and AI, they've been putting some famous people in Lil Yachty's space, in Lil Yachty's place during the entrance. And for this one, they actually put Tom Thibodeau. So let's watch it real quick. Hold on. Hey. Let's go, Chiz. Killing it. Hey. Yo, I love that. All right, we got two more. Let's do two more. All right. So what else we got here? What are they talking? It says, your garbage franchise has just been vanquished by free throw expert Mitchell Robinson. Mitch definitely came through on the free throws in that last game. So shout out to Mitchell Robinson. Says Cam Thomas pushes Brunson to the ground and OG confronts him. If you didn't see this, let me kind of just show it to point it out. . 'Cause Look, and he just walking away like it's nothing. Nobody else is doing nothing. The ref didn't even call it. Watch this. Look. Now look at Mitch. Now look at Brunson. Watch Brunson and OG. Watch he dap him up. Look at him. Boom, right there. Appreciate you. And listen to the crowd. OG. Come on, man. If you don't get chills. Watch this. Look at that. Come on, man. Come on, man. Josh Hart just, moseyed on over there. Look at OG right away. Look, Mitch ain't thinking about it. It's the afterthought. OG had intentions of going there to address it. Come on, man. Clyde, you're wrong. That wasn't an acting job. Oh, see, come on, man. Listen. See, refs are bugging. I'm sorry. Completely excessive. What you're doing is you're setting the tone for the playoffs. You're setting the tone for the playoffs when you don't call that, if you don't call that excessive. That was a non-basketball play. Shout out to OG. In some non-Knicks related news, it says Bam Adebayo tries to injure quickly. He's at it again. It says when you forget that injure all Knicks players doesn't include former Knicks players. Something tells me y'all will probably want to see this. So let me click on this real quick. See what they're doing a bit more. But yeah, man, that's the MO of Miami now, man. They don't got the skill players. And look, honestly, that's how the 90s Knicks were as well. We didn't have the skill players, so sometimes we would, legitimately take people out, so that is the Miami type of way, so, it worked for us. I'd be a hypocrite if I was saying I'm mad at it now when the other team is doing it, Let's give a shout out to iHeart. It says the New York Knicks have a record of 6-0 in their last 6 games against the Nets all time. All right. And I'll do one more before I kind of get ready to tie this up. Let me see if we can find one more that's kind of worth. Okay, AC says Brunson is the MVP. I think that's too long. I saw that before, but we agree. Let's see if I can find one more that may be unique. This is funny. It says when you're up 30 with 7 minutes left, so you call Jaylen Brunson up off the bench. I'll end that right there real quick. Okay, I don't want to prolong it. I know it's getting long. 15 people watching right now. I appreciate y'all. But yeah, man, honestly, one of my parting thoughts, man, I'm excited about this playoff run that we're about to make. I think it's key. I think it's going to be a title run for us. Okay. I'm happy about this team, even though we have a major loss in Julius. I'm really excited about this team and what we can do. I really think the NBA title path is wide open. It is really wide open. There is no clear-cut dominant team who has a path to the title. I'm scared of nobody in the East. None. And with Giannis even being injured, come on, you can't. Bro, if y'all don't see the signs of where we can go and what we can do, I don't know what to tell you. I can't give you the glasses that I have. So I just think my parting thoughts is that the New York Knicks have done a great job. Even if the season ended today, we've had a successful season by all measures. We've had an exciting season to watch and be a part of. We are young and we're successful. And once again, we are a free agency destination. It doesn't matter who we face in the playoffs. You know we're going to be competitive. You know we're going to fight. You know we're never going to let go of the rope, as Alan Hahn says. Shout out. Let me do a shout out as well. Salute to you, Kareem. Salute to you, Dripmore. Salute to you, Will Q. Salute to you, Ray Sainit. Shout out to all y'all. Let me just point out one more thing. In addition to just the success we find, it's always good when we get our boys on the cover of Slam magazine. You know what I mean? Like them Villanova boys, man. Yo, we were clowned. We were clowned for making connections, bringing in Kentucky players, making connections. Players. They were saying the New York Knicks can't get free agencies, so they're going to the college route. Okay? They were going the college route. If you like this cover, look. Hold on. We're gonna get the gold version of it. Hold on for a second. I didn't even put it up here. But yo, it's fire. It's fire. And then, you know, look, our jerseys have always been dope. Now you're gonna start seeing it become part of the new culture, the new generation wearing that orange and blue thing. Come on now. They got the pinstripes on this joint. Love it. I love it. You know what I mean? Like on all levels, we are ascending, man. We're ascending to popular culture. And I want to give proper kudos to this man. This man, I told people from the very beginning, everybody will criticize the coach, but the coach is only good as the players who perform for him, who really enact and put forth his vision for the offense and his vision and his philosophy. You got to embody what the coach is doing. And they're doing that. We got rid of anybody who didn't. And this is the result of it. Okay? This is the result of it. And I would be remiss in my responsibility. Look, and this is a phenomenal photo. This is just a beautiful visual right here. Carmelo Anthony and Stephon Marbury. Okay? This is where you know the organization is in good health. When you have players who didn't necessarily have the best exit from New York brought back into the fold. They're given opportunities where they're acknowledged. You know what I mean? They're recognized by Knicks fans. They're happy to be a part of what's going on now. They're speaking positively about the players that are on the court. They love standing up and getting the good energy. Patrick Ewing is back in the building, getting the good energy. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be a wrap when they get Oakley back. The moment they get Oakley back, it's a wrap. We're winning the championship. You know what I mean? And that's going to be like this season, man. Once we make things right with Oak, and Oak is back in here, man, it's going to be, it's going to be a beautiful thing, bro. Look at what our organization has done. And we have to give ourselves credit. Knicks fans are the most loyal. I don't care what we've been through. And sometimes we may be negative or we may hesitate to be fully in because we know the hurt that we've been through. But give yourselves credit, man. We got to give ourselves credit for enduring this and sticking with these players. But this is a beautiful thing to see these two legends in this game. Marbury went over to another side of the world and became even more legendary. He's a Hall of Famer because of that. This man right here is the first ballot Hall of Famer, Carmelo Anthony, how he handled the New York press and the New York market admirably, knowing that a coach was completely kind of undercutting him. And he wasn't perfect, nor was Patrick Ewing perfect. But to be able to professionally handle New York in that spotlight is unheard of. So shout out to both of those brothers. And I really want to end this on giving a special shout out to Julius Randle. I want to give a shout out to Julius Randle, man, because, where we are, we wouldn't be where we are without this man. And I think a lot of times I don't think he's going to be truly appreciated until he is no longer a New York Knick, whether it's by retirement or by trade, I think him being here is going to position us to win a championship, whether he is on the roster when we do it or as a result of us utilizing him to get a huge piece. I just think the credit, he needs to get credit. He needs to get credit for his contribution. He needs to get credit for his improvement every year. He needs to get credit for adjusting and cleaning up his game. Some of the things that really were points of frustration, such as that spin move, such as doing too much, to be able to relinquish that feeling of him being the number one on a team when Jaylen Brunson came in, his sacrifices, his desire to win, his ability not to run. He had an opportunity to leave and pursue something else, but he stayed. And, I just don't think we give him enough credit. And I know it is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, but I don't know, the vibes, and you tell me if I'm wrong, the vibes that I get from this situation that Julius Randle is in is very similar to the vibes that I got in 1999 with Patrick Ewing. When Patrick Ewing went down with the wrist injury from Vin Baker, I think that was the season that Vin Baker pushed him and he broke his wrist. Patrick was never the same after that. But that year, the New York Knicks went on that monumental run as the 8th seed all the way to the finals. And that's when you seen Latrell Sprewell emerge and Larry Johnson step up and switch his game up to a post game when Larry Johnson was primarily, a high flyer. And then all those players and the masterful coaching job and the big shot in Miami. And nobody expected our Knicks team to make the finals that year. And when we got to the finals, we came up against the San Antonio Spurs, who had previously tanked and got Tim Duncan side by side with the Admiral. And it was only then that we really missed the impact of Patrick Ewing on that magical run. So it feels like vibes from 99, where we got Julius going down at a time where we had no drop off as a result of it. And we have an opportunity where things have fallen in place for us to make a run. If we end up in the finals, I don't see a San Antonio on the other side. I think we have an opportunity to finish it. And if we do, man, the ripple effect of that, what that would mean for possibly a Julius Randle. If we win a championship, it could mean we add him back to that and maybe run it back. Or it could mean like, man, we got this far. Do we, flip him for a piece that can help us get over the hump? So it's so much, man. It's so much. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited. We are in such a good place, man. Knicks fans, we could just enjoy this. So many possibilities. And I'm just proud of our organization for placing us in this position where there's just so many great things that can come as a result of it. And we just need to recognize that something special is happening. So I'm going to tie this all up. Shout out to you, once a Knick, always a Knick. Shout out to everybody who joined me. I got 19 people in the chat. Yo, this is y'all chance, man. Anybody got some comments you want to throw in there? We could talk about it. But I'm looking forward to watching other content creators. Listen, check out all the content that's being made, man. So much great content out there. It always gets interesting at the end of the year. I know I've been away at Knicks Deli. I'm adjusting to a new job. I'm 1 year back to New York, so I'm hyped about it. But it's been a lot of hard work, so I really haven't had the time to make videos or to stream. But we back at it, baby. We back at it. And no matter what, okay? We out here. We circling the block. We spinning the block again, on these haters, right in time for the playoffs. Okay. So we are problem facts. Hold on. Let me put some of y'all on the, let me go back and cover some of these comments real quick. I'll do that real quick before I tie it up. I want to thank y'all for rocking with me. Okay. My guy Dripmore, it says, "Your Deli, let's go." Shout out to you. Also said, "Let's go." My guy Red Sinet says, "Whoa, Knicks for NBA championship after 1973. He's with it. I'm with it as well." Will Q threw his one in the chat. Shout out to all of those former Knicks players, Marbury, Carmelo Anthony. Drip more like that video with Tibbs going crazy to the little Uzi Vert. So shout out to Drip more as well. One of the best barbers here, in New York, man. So if you got a chance to visit his shop, find out where it is, man. Check out Drip more as well. Kareem Grant says salute. Shout out to you, Kareem. My guy Will Q, salute. Shout out to you as well. My guy Kareem once again says loving that cover. Yeah, man, that slam cover, man, is fire. It's fire. Will Q also says love that cover, man. Yeah, man, they did their thing. Absolutely did their thing. Okay. Will Q says, hell yeah, love the coach, man. The players want to play for him. Bro, the New York Knicks very quietly got one of the best coaches in the league, bro. And defensive, man, he just embodies what New York is, bro. There was no other team there was no other coach that could come in and do what he did. Okay. Dripmore says the jerseys are dope. Yeah, the jerseys that they were rocking on that slam cover, fire. Okay. Knicks culture is back. I'm loving every part of it. Once a Knick, always a Knick says facts. And lastly, we tie it up with once a Knick, always a Knicks, once again saying we are a problem. That we are. Okay. So I want to thank y'all for rocking with me. Yo, listen, look for more content. I'm going to drop some videos about my predictions, man. I predicted that the New York Knicks will win a championship in 2024. Also predicted that, Julius Randle may not be here when we do. But there's a couple of predictions that I have, man, and I made that seem to be holding true, man. So call me Shirstradamus if you want. Also, my middle name is Bashir, but my name is Baraka, just so you know. So my name is Baraka, because some people were a little bit confused with the name switch up. I'm like, I'm not necessarily rebranding. My name is Baraka, so y'all could call me Baraka if you want. Call me Sheer. I want y'all to call me a champion fan of the New York champion Knicks. That's what y'all could call me. All right. So yeah, we out of here, y'all. Keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there is no progress. But remember this, whether it's out here in these New York streets, here in Knicks Deli, everybody eats. Okay? Knicks Deli edition.
Knicks Deli edition.
And we out. Peace.